There's a fruit that most people have never seen, not because it's rare, not because it's hard to grow, but because it doesn't fit the system that decides what ends up in stores. It's soft, extremely soft. So soft, in fact, that if you tried to ship it across the country, it wouldn't survive the trip. By the time it reached its destination, it wouldn't be fruit anymore. It would be juice, crushed under its own weight, leaking, staining everything around it. And because of that, it was quietly pushed aside, replaced with fruits that could handle long-distance travel, fruits that could sit on shelves, fruits that could be stacked, packed, and shipped thousands of miles without falling apart. But here's where it gets interesting, because what this fruit lacks in durability, it makes up for everywhere else. It thrives where other plants fail. It survives temperatures that would kill most crops. It produces for decades, and nutritionally, it rivals or exceeds some of the most popular fruits in the world. Yet you won't find it in your grocery store, you won't see it in standard supply chains, and unless you've gone looking for it, you probably don't even know it exists. This is the honeyberry, a plant that doesn't play by the rules, and because of that, it was left behind. If you look at how modern agriculture works, it starts to make sense. Because today, food isn't just about growing something, it's about moving it, storing it, selling it at massive scale, and that changes everything. A fruit isn't selected based on how nutritious it is or how easy it is to grow. It's selected based on how well it handles the system. Can it survive harvesting machines? Can it be stacked in large containers? Can it travel thousands of miles without damage? Can it sit on a shelf long enough to be sold? If the answer is no, it doesn't matter how good it is, it gets replaced. And the honeyberry fails that test immediately because it has almost no protective skin. When you pick it, it doesn't seal itself like a blueberry. It opens, what botanists call a wet scar, which means juice can leak out instantly. Now imagine thousands of these berries packed together. The weight alone begins to crush them. The bottom layer breaks first, then the next. And by the time they reach their destination, you don't have berries anymore. You have a mess. So from an industrial perspective, it's not viable, not profitable, not worth the risk. And that's all it takes. Because once something is labeled unviable, it disappears from the system. Not because it failed, but because it didn't fit. But here's the part that gets overlooked. Because while it failed in the supply chain, it excels everywhere else. This is one of the most cold-hardy fruit plants on Earth. It can survive temperatures below -50 degrees Fahrenheit, temperatures that would destroy most crops entirely. Even its flowers can handle frost. While other fruit plants lose their blossoms and fail to produce, this one keeps going. It doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It's built for harsh ones. And that resilience extends to how it grows. Unlike blueberries, which require highly acidic soil, this plant adapts. It can grow in a wide range of soil types: clay, silt, sand. It doesn't demand constant adjustment. It doesn't require perfect conditions. It simply produces year after year for decades, sometimes up to 50 years. And then there's the fruit itself, deep blue to purple, soft, juicy, with a flavor that sits somewhere between a blueberry, a raspberry, and a black currant. But the real difference isn't just taste, it's what's inside. High levels of anthocyanins, the same compounds responsible for the color, compounds linked to antioxidant activity, compounds studied for their role in reducing inflammation, supporting overall health, and in some cases, outperforming more common fruits. So what you end up with is a plant that's easier to grow, more resilient, and potentially more nutrient-dense than the fruits that replaced it. And this is where everything flips, because what made this fruit fail in the industrial system is exactly what makes it valuable to you. It doesn't ship well, which means it doesn't get mass-produced, which means it stays out of the system. And that creates a gap, an opportunity, because if you want it, you don't buy it, you grow it, and that turns something overlooked into something powerful. Because this isn't a high-maintenance plant. It doesn't require constant attention. It doesn't demand perfect soil. It doesn't need intensive care. Once it's established, it produces early in the season, often before other fruits are ready, filling what growers call the hunger gap, that window where fresh food is limited. And that's another advantage, timing. While other crops are still developing, this one is already producing. But there is one rule: you can't plant just one. Honeyberries require cross-pollination. You need at least two compatible varieties planted together, blooming at the same time. Without that, you'll get flowers, but no fruit. And there's something else to understand. You don't grow this from seed, because seeds don't guarantee the same results. They can produce bitter fruit, unpredictable outcomes. If you want consistent quality, you start with established plants, proven varieties, and once they're in the ground, you step back. Let them do what they were designed to do, because this plant doesn't rely on constant input. It relies on time, and that's the difference. This isn't a fruit built for shelves. It's a fruit built for systems, long-term systems, resilient systems, ones that don't break when conditions change. So it wasn't forgotten because it lacked value. It was forgotten because it couldn't be controlled. And now, it's still here, waiting for people who are willing to grow it.